Email is by far the most profitable marketing effort a company can make. You own the data too, so it's not going anywhere. The cost on a CPM basis is much lower on email than it is on Facebook or Google though, so getting back in front of those people is terribly effective. It's extremely rare. I cannot remember a situation where someone would hire us for email, we would build out a nice foundation, workflow, send campaigns, and they not be profitable, considering our services as well, because the conversion rate on email is so wonderful compared to PPC and social media marketing. As a good rule of thumb, it's safe to say that a 20% revenue growth can be expected from well built out email campaigns. 30% is a number you could say as well. We have had clients, direct to consumer clients, digitally native, that have got 70% of their revenue from email too. So it's most certainly possible to see large growth in email revenue, and it's very consistent as well. And we're going to talk about how consistent and it can really be, and how easy a decision to add it into the service offering it can be as well. As far as it being an effective marketing channel, think about the way that emails are shown to people. Oftentimes an email is sitting next, an email from a brand is sitting right next to an email from a person at work, or your mom or a friend. And there's a lot of assigned value instantly, well, usually in emails from people, because they have opted in more often than not to receive them. So it's something they've voluntarily chosen to do. Now you definitely get the automatic opt-in emails that do annoy you. But if you're doing a good job as a brand, watching your open rates, watching your quality score, which we'll talk about again later, then you should be having people in your segmented audiences you're delivering campaigns and workflows to that are actually interested in receiving your emails and engaging with them. So taking good care of them can lead to really great reactions from people that have decided they want you in their inbox. There's 4 P's we like to assign in email marketing: product launches, product features, promotions, and personality. These are the reasons you send email. If you're going to launch a product, it is a wonderful way to introduce the brand. You know, you're talking about the people that already like your brand. And if you're going to test an audience of people with a new product, or look to drive revenue from people before spending any real money aside from the subscription costs, the email is the right way to do it. If you're going to try and attack that group on PPC or social media marketing, you're going to have to pay money in order to do that. Yes, it's going to be a lower cost than prospecting, say, but it's certainly a very effective way to introduce new products to people. You can send emails where you showcase features, the other P, product features, which are aspects of the product that maybe go undetected in the brief ads that you see either through Google and Facebook. You know, remembering again that those ads are really an opportunity just to introduce the product to people, not tell its entire origin story. It's not a hero video and long form blog post. So you have a brief amount of attention. And email is a really great way to dive deeper onto the features, and that they're handmade and where the fabric's sourced, or whatever the features of that particular product might be. And again, that doesn't necessarily have to be conversion based, and we'll talk about that more a little later on. Promotions is obvious, having an opportunity to do a flash sale, create anticipation for, and then ultimately promote a sale that's going on at some sort of holiday, certainly Black Friday. Any kind of promotion for email is obviously really, really good. And then personality, the last P, is a home run situation for brands that are looking for a way to share their tone, their brand tonality, brand identity in a way that has more attention assigned to that delivery, which is email. I mean, you have people's attention. They've decided they saw the headline, who it was from, and they clicked in to look and see what you had to say. That is more attention than you're likely going to be getting from somebody on a social media ad or a pay-per-click ad, especially because they have voluntarily signed up to receive that information. And if you use it as a way to share your real brand's personality, your real brand's messaging, you'll be able to separate yourself, differentiate yourself spectacularly. Whereas if all your emails are only about promos, while you might not get a lot of people unsubscribing, perhaps because every email has a discount, well, it's kind of a race to the bottom there. All you're doing is discounting. You're creating a discount loyal brand. That's the time you're going to get sales. And you haven't really established any like loyalty from the brand. You haven't wrapped your arms or given them an opportunity to wrap their arms around you as a brand because they love your personality and what you have to say. Email is the long form way you can do that, along with obviously blog posts and organic posts on social and all those kind of things. But email really is a wonderful way to showcase your personality. With that is the fact that it is a warm audience. There's people that like your brand potentially already, or are at least interested in hearing what you have to say additionally. Maybe they haven't bought before and they just signed up to get a 15% off first time buyer discount. Well, now you've got a lovely opportunity to get back in front of them and show them how great your brand is, because they're warm. It's not their very first touch. Remember, email is not a prospecting platform. It is a way to endear your audience to you. Segmenting is extremely powerful in email. I would argue that it's the most powerful. You can be very detailed, get very granular there. Separating by high dollar amount, frequency of purchases, and also separating as to whether someone has engaged or not. If they haven't been engaging in the last 30 days, 14 days, you might consider moving them to the suppressed list, so you're only sending emails to people that actually open them and want to see them. But segmentation is a very big part of the overall email strategy as well. We're going to talk a little more about sending campaigns out and what that means, and whether we would send an email to the entire list or not. Segmentation can be very special because of the way you draft your tone and the messaging, the way you speak to somebody who's signed up for a first-time buyer discount, as opposed to somebody who's been subscribed to your emails for a year and has bought 5 times, needs to be different at times. Sometimes it can be the same, but certainly sometimes those audiences need to get spoken to differently. And the segmentation you create in your email campaigns allows for that. Our approach is much different because it's so detail oriented like that. We're taking every opportunity we can to be detailed with the way that we're separating people, because remember, you can always add everybody in at any time, and you can get groups of audiences together and send emails out. So why not segment and be detailed and be strategic and methodical about the way you're sending your emails out? Sender rating and deliverability score, delivery score, those are the factors that you have to be careful with and why you really want to segment. If you're just sending a email blast, what's called a campaign, we'll come back to a little later, to everybody in your subscriber list, the reaction is not going to be what you expect. You're going to be paying more for the email delivery. Your open rate's going to not be good because you haven't emailed some people or you haven't opened in a long time. And that's effectively going to determine whether or not you're actually getting in inboxes or not. Your deliverability score is a big deal, and you have to be careful with it. If you're getting below 10%, you are screwed in terms of delivery. You're not going to get in inboxes. You're going to be in spam, and that's not good. So having a conscious, strategic decision as to why we're sending certain people emails, how we're separating some people out of certain emails, how often we're sending to different groups is very important, because if you don't take care of your quality score, ultimately your email revenue, that the most profitable marketing channel, is going to suffer. We have a very strict mindset on the way we manage our quality scores, and if measures need to be taken to rectify the score, we're going to do them. If best practices say no more than 1 email a week, well, that's what we're going to do. Sorry, Mr. Client, this is the most important thing, and you're not getting in inboxes. Even knowing to talk about that with the client is a big deal. How many agencies out there that manage email are actively and aggressively monitoring that score to determine its quality and having that affect their strategies? Even if the client's upset, we're still going to talk to them about what the best thing to do is, because we need to fix the problem and we know how. And here's our plan. They may still want to send emails out as often as they can, but at least we're going to be having their brain full of information, perspective, so that when they're making decisions, they're doing it from an educated place. Something I mentioned before a little bit, but it's worth mentioning again, is that you get to control the narrative in email. and talk to people in a way that you want. When we're running ads, we are a direct response agency. We're looking for conversions most of the time. I mean, 99% of the time, people want purchases. And our copy is a result of what we've done in the past that's worked, iterating off of it, but all of it is about conversions. It's not about how amazing your brand is. You might be handmade in LA, but if I test that copy versus a feature in the product or a benefit that performs better, regardless of the fact that it's made in LA, that doesn't really convert that well. And it's not the job of the ad to get people to convert. It's the job of the ad to adjust their mindset in that when they get to the website, then they buy, because the website has showcased a lot of that valuable personality information that you want to share. And you don't really have that opportunity in Facebook ads or YouTube ads. It's more brief. There's certainly an opportunity for it, but it's never going to be to the depth and the extent that you want. That's where email can really shine. You get a chance to show the personality and have control the messaging much, much more. When we're building email campaigns, we're looking to build two kinds of emails: workflows and campaigns. Workflows are like drip campaigns that have 20 sequences, 20 sequenced emails that are automatic. And campaigns are like e-blasts that are sent out one-off. So the foundation of email is workflows, and that's what drives all this predictable revenue. It's the reason we can really guarantee revenue and potentially guarantee profit for most of these emails. It's the reason that a lot of companies stay with us with email for so long, because we optimize them constantly, but they're always running and driving email. There's revenue. There's always people in these sequences. So they're very, very important to the foundation of consistent revenue. 3 months in, you're going to be driving consistent revenue. The more spend you have on PPC, the more people ultimately go into your abandoned cart sequence or your abandoned cart flow and your welcome series flow, and more people see emails, more people buy. So if you spend more, there's more of those people, right? Campaigns, on the other hand, are not automatic like that. They are one-off e-blasts that can be sent out for one of the 4 Ps. And more often than not, they are part of the marketing calendar, actively discussed, and constantly being developed and made. And that is always a work in progress to a very large extent of the time, in terms of time percentage of time spent building and sending campaigns compared to workflows, is very disproportionate to more time being spent on campaigns after the first 4 months, because the flows are the foundation. And when we used to sign email clients, we used to start by trying to build that foundation, really strong foundation of email, which is your workflows. You need to have good abandoned cart sequences. You need good welcome series. You got to put these people that almost bought down a funnel to get them to buy. And what happened is, most of the time it would take a full month to get these things totally done. And the bill would come for the client, and they'd say, well, you guys, why am I getting this bill? You haven't really sent that many emails. When in actuality, we built like 30 email templates and these massive flows, but the clients weren't seeing revenue, so it was challenging for them. Now we have a much more revenue first, value second approach, in which we've extended the time frame that we build the foundation of workflows over 3 months, 4 months. And the second we get the account, we start talking about campaigns and driving revenue, so that by the time the first month comes, they can see, hey, look, there's been 8 email campaigns sent out. We've got X dollars in revenue, and also there's these other workflows that they're building. Okay, this is pretty cool. And they start to justify, because there's a lot of ambiguity in digital marketing as is. So we try to alleviate a lot of that by driving revenue at every opportunity. So that's a little bit about the strategy that we've changed in terms of onboarding clients in email as well. We'll talk about it more in a minute though. In terms of the revenue you want to see from workflows to campaigns, it's really half and half. We want to see about half the revenue coming from workflows and half the revenue coming from campaigns. And that's likely the reason that it takes several months, because we have to get these flows built. But by the time we've built everything out with a good foundation and got a good rhythm with the brand and their marketing calendar, and we understand the tone and guidelines of their company a lot better, we should be able to achieve that pretty quickly, or consistently, I should say. Email is a testing platform, period. If you're talking to somebody about email, it needs to at least include language about testing. We're testing everything, literally everything: headlines, images, colors, body copy, CTAs, locations of links, how many links, different placements in sequences, types of campaigns that work. I mean, there's tests going constantly, and so the information that we use to drive revenue gets better and better and better as time goes on, because we have more answers to more questions. If we need all lowercase in the subject line, or we need a brand name in the subject line, now we know that, so we try and lean into that. Not on every email, but we certainly apply it moving forward when we really want to drive revenue in certain campaigns, and we make changes in our workflows when we get winners from split tests, and things just continue to get better and better. And it's one of the real benefits of email too, because we can see things that work in email and say, hey, this phrasing is really working. We should try this in ads, and use some of that copy that we've tested as a win in email in some of the prospecting ads, maybe in Facebook and Google. One of the major advantages of email is the PPC, or social media marketing advantage. And it is so unbelievably impactful. We found this out, and it's really maybe the main reason we started offering an email marketing as a service to clients, because there's such an immediate impact in an improvement in performance after you make the change. So basically what happens is, let's say a person goes on Facebook and they find an ad, and they click on the ad, they go to the website, they view the PDP and stay on the page for a minute and a half, and then close the website. Then their session's done. They've not bought from the product, that's it. Well, the next day they go to Google search and they click on an ad for the same company. They go back to the website now they add to cart, and they decide not to buy. And then they get an abandoned cart email, and they buy through the link in the abandoned cart email, which was sent to them about 40 minutes or to an hour after their session ended without them buying. Well, email for sure is going to account for that conversion, because it came from email, but Google is going to fire as well, and so is Facebook, because they had the first interaction, and it's only been a day. So you're going to have a conversion in all three. Now you might think that well, this is going to be crazy over tracking and everything, but that's not really the case. I mean, it doesn't really happen to that extent. It's not wildly disproportionate in revenue in Shopify compared to all aggregate channels. What the real benefit though is the improvement to the algorithm and information you have in ad platforms. Who cares about whether the sale was only attributable to Facebook, or only attributable to Google, or only email? Give it to email. Who cares? The value that comes from having a conversion fire on these ad platforms is an improvement in optimization. If those ads don't fire in Google and in Facebook, the Facebook algorithms are not going to say, hey, that was the right person. Let's send ads to more people like them. Instead, they're going to say, we're not finding conversions. Let's keep exploring for the right people. And they're going to stay in the learning phase. To get out of the learning phase, you need conversions, lots of them, right? As fast as possible. So if the pixel fires because Facebook was a component of the conversion and it ended up being email, that's great, because we got a conversion in Facebook, not because it accurately tracked within Facebook. It's about the fact that the algorithm is now getting smarter, showing ads to the right people, and that's Google as well. If a keyword in particular for search contributed to the sale, whether it was the only sale or not, the only interaction or not, is almost irrelevant, because I know that that particular keyword contributed to a sale, and now instead of even considering to eliminate it, I'm definitely going to keep it running because it leads to conversions. That's what it's about. It's about giving the algorithms, giving these ad platforms as much data as possible about what's working so they can get smarter and better. And that is done through email. Remember, there's a 20 or 30% increase in sales just from email. Now, there's the other residual benefits to that, of the improvement in the platforms and the delivery, now that we understand how it impacts so well. If I've got a no abandoned cart sequence as an example for a brand, and I I'm running Facebook ads and I'm running Google ads, I'm missing a lot of conversions on the abandoned cart sequence alone. But when those conversions start firing and they fire on ad platforms, all those conversions rise the total accuracy of the delivery, and it just causes an overall improvement in performance. We see it time and time again. As we mentioned before, the overall strategy for email is start with revenue and move to value. But that's not just in our agency's mindset about email. It's also with the tone of the emails that get sent out. You want to start trying to drive that revenue. Get them in a abandoned cart, get them in a welcome series, a couple of promos, and then they're in, and you move towards more of the value for the brand and why it's such a great brand, and all the details about maybe product features or some of the personality, or driving traffic to a blog post. We've had clients in the past, beauty product, that drove emails to their subscribers that were just educational in terms of how to use their products properly. And those were some of the most profitable emails that they ever sent, just because they were providing value to their subscribers and keeping people engaged, keeping them subscribed. So the mindset is revenue first from our agency, and then we move into value, meaning finishing the workflows. But it's also the strategy when delivering emails. Try and get revenue right away, because right when they subscribe and they're most hot on the brand is likely when they're going to buy, or the quickest time they're going to buy, and then give them more about the brand identity and personality after that being the value. 3 KPIs you track on email: open rate, click rate, and revenue. The open rate's just subject line, how many people are opening the emails. That's a good factor to determine success. The click rate is how many people are clicking through to the website. That's going to tell you whether or not people are interested in those emails. And then at the end of the day, revenue is king, and it's going to determine whether or not your campaigns are overall successful or not. Those are the things we're optimizing for. We're looking at as indicators for success or failure of campaigns and overall email strategy, and health of the account as well, health of the list, the quality score as well. One thing that's important to mention is that email is very you have capabilities to talk to your cohort of followers about what you're doing rather than just conversions. The goals can be whatever you want them to be. It might just be getting people to go to the blog more and read the new article, or subscribe on YouTube, or whatever the goals might be. You get an opportunity to showcase all those skills that your brand has, or showcase the products that you have, or something cool that you've done, a charity you're working with, and overall rising the engagement of social media. There's a lot of things that you can do, and not every email has to be about conversion. That's something brands seem to be pretty open to. More often than not, the most of the emails are going to try and convert people. They are going to have CTAs, but it's nice to be able to have a medium where you can communicate directly with your audience of people that care enough about your brand to subscribe, in a way that can be long form, can be meaningful, and not necessarily trying to get their credit card out of their wallet. It's very interesting that way. You can't really do that with PPC. It's the goal of those ads only is to get people to the website to buy. And there's not time to talk about how something's designed in LA, because if that doesn't help the conversion rate, it needs to be eliminated. Maybe that would help the conversion rate, but the point is, if it doesn't, it's gone. That's not necessarily the way email goes. That you send an email out, it's well received or not, and then you send another one out and it's gone. It's not like an ad that'll run forever. From a sales perspective, one of the fun things to talk about with email is our ability to launch quickly. The launch process is different. With PPC or social media, there's a lot of research that gets involved with preparing yourselves to launch campaigns, looking for keywords, checking interests, reviewing old campaigns. I don't really need the client for a lot of that stuff. But with email, you do. So you can launch just with a call, and we can get you going really fast. Because all we got to do is set up a call with the team, review your brand guidelines, go over some emails that you've liked in the past, find your fonts, get your color schemes, talk about templates that look good and don't, talk about your cadence, your tone, the way you like to communicate, CTAs you like, and get on board with the client on the same page so that they feel like we understand their brand, we're going to represent their brand well, and that's the start. And then after we have the start, then we can start building all the templates and writing all the headlines and building all the architecture framework for the workflows and campaigns. But all that starts with a call, so we can get the ball rolling really quickly, even though the work is not going to start until after that call. Sometimes it's nice to be able to tell people that we can get the ball rolling right away. It could take the same amount of time to have emails going out as it would PPC and social media, but you can make it feel a little bit like you can start quicker by starting the process of a phone call, onboarding, kickoff call, talking about the brand. Because the creative team has to understand the brand, they have to know the tone, they have to be able to articulate everything the way the brand wants them to. So there is a pretty heavy needed onboarding conversation to be had, and it's really nice to start it that way. That is a video about email marketing, our methodologies, thought process around timeframes, building and launching strategies, optimizing, all that kind of stuff.